Today I want to give an update of my Society for Idea Collectors art journal. This is so fun to work in. Society of Idea Collectors is a project inspired by Dede Willingham. She has a challenge out on her channel. There is a link to her channel and a link to her Society for Idea Collectors playlist in the description box below. What I thought I would do is show you how I am working in my Society for Idea Collectors journal and how fat it is getting. This is a regular composition notebook. I started it in August when Dede started her Society for Idea Collectors playlists and videos and challenges, and I have had so much fun working in it. This is November the 4th, I believe. I'm hoping that it'll last me through November and December, and I'm going to start a new one in January of 2018. And I'm going to do things a bit differently. One of the Society for Idea Collectors homework assignment was to mind map each one of your tabs. And when I got to the tab for homework for the Society of Idea Collectors, I thought, man, I really need to redo this and reorganize it. And as a result of doing that mind map, I've come up with a lot of different ideas for this. So I went to the dollar store. I have some more composition books, and you'll see how I'm going to use these. No, I'm not going to glue them together. I do like to work in them individually. This fits into my handbag, my purse, very nice. It's just a nice size to carry to the library with me. If I'm out in my car, if I'm away from my desk, if I'm in another room in the house, it's just a really convenient, handy size. It's not too small and it's not too large. Perfect to work in. But I am going to work in some more different volumes. And you'll see that when I do that in 2018. I'm hoping this fat one is going to last me through the end of the year of 2017. So what are some of the things I've been doing in here? Well, you can see this little dashboard sheet of paper here is actually from some Happy Mail from Dede, and she sent some stamps, some little clear acrylic stamps of an ink pen and an ink bottle, a pair of glasses, and then over here are just some little shape stamps. So I put them on my front cover. This journal has gotten so fat that the cover broke off, and I had to get out some clear Gorilla Tape to tape the front cover back on. I put a piece of clear Gorilla Tape here, and then the same thing on the back over here. And I do have a dashboard over here, and I have a to-do list that really should be over here on the front dashboard, because these are some things that I need to get done this weekend. And so I just keep them right there. And in fact, I think I'll put this band across it. These bands are some that I got at Walmart. They're called folder bands. I really do like them. I think Dede also suggested you using headbands. Eventually, the rubber here will dry out and crack and break. But for now, these are working for me. And I'll put it like this to hold it shut. And then when I'm working, especially if I'm working outside, when the wind blows, I can put things like this. Or if I'm working in a center page and I want to hold the pages open, I'll do something like this. So I really do like these bands, so you'll be seeing more of those. So I have the stamps that Dede sent me on the front cover. I have my big, huge light bulb, which was out of an advertisement in the Smithsonian magazine. I actually have that cut out, the fussy cut of that light bulb, but I don't want to glue it down because I want it to go in my other journals when I get them started. And I put my little to-do list right here. I'm going to put this band here so I don't lose it. And then here are the questions that we started, the who, what, when, where, why, and how questions. Now I'm just going to thumb through this and show you some of the things you've already seen, so they're owed to you, but some of the things I just add them randomly in here. I have my calendar. I started it out in August, and I have found that the Society of Idea Collectors Journal, I am better at journaling daily activities here than I have been in any other planner. Why is that? Why do planners not work for me? I don't know. Maybe because I do not see this as a planner. I see this more as a note. What did I do on August 3rd? I was in a hangout with some other my art friends, and I set up borders and pages and did some color topics, border pages. So I did these borders on this journal for the different topics in here. So I did that on August 3rd. I was setting up this journal. Here are some stamps from the stamp that Dede sent me. Thank you so much, Dede. And here I'm just figuring out what topics do I want to put in here. This was all inspired by Dede with the Society of Idea Collectors Journal setup. Here I'm choosing the colors. Now some of these tabs for 2018 are going to be rearranged. I'm not going to go into that, but I'm going to try to keep the colors as close as possible because I want to be able to associate green with YouTube. Art, sort of a gold color. Activities is a pinkish red color. I might change that to a dark red, depending on what pens I have. Here's a little note from Dede when she sent those stamps. I just put that in there. Here's a cutout, fussy cut from the Smithsonian Magazine Ingenuity Award is what it was, and it's got a light bulb here. And I go, I'm going to put that in my Society for Idea Collectors, and then I have a little list here of folks who are doing Society of Idea Collection journals, and I'm going to put. I noticed I don't have Patricia Stubbs here. And this is how I write in this journal. If I see something's missing, I'll just, as soon as I can, grab a pen and put it in there so I don't forget. And that's really the point of this journal. You get ideas, you want to write it down. Dede says, write it down. So this is just more notes on Dede's Society of Idea Collectors videos that she's done. I listen to the video, I take notes, I write things down that inspire me. And believe it or not, I come back to these and look at these. Just working on more projects here. Here's where we were mind mapping the different tabs, and I listed all my tabs, and then as I did my little mind maps, I came back and checked them off so I knew that it was done. That was more of an interactive thing for me. Don't censor yourself. Use your own art. These are advice things from Dede in her videos that I wanted to keep track of. Here was the little Halloween mind map that Dede did. I expanded that back here. I'll show that to you later. And I think the last video I watched with Dede, she was not doing a Society for Idea Collectors Journal. I went in on a Monday. I don't get out to her Ustream every Monday. Boo-hoo! But I do watch all her Society for Idea Collectors videos. I'm just so inspired by them. I think the last one that she did that I watched, and I actually did it, Dede. I'm going to show it to you. In fact, I'll show it to you right now. She says, find an idea stamp that represents you or carve one that will be your symbol. And Dede, during that video, that Society of Idea Collectors video that she was streaming, she actually carved a little light bulb image. A light bulb image. And it represents Society of Idea Collectors. Now, I did not carve a light bulb, but I'm going to stamp in this book, probably in my 2018. But I stamped something else. Two things, and I'm going to show them both to you. Well, actually three. And this is the little journal that I bought at Hobby Lobby, and it's just a little drawing sketchbook, and I use it to, I am new to carving. I carved some things, stamps when I was in high school, some linotype ones, and I think I did a little when I was in college, but not much, and I kind of dropped it. So I consider myself a newbie to carving. But anyway, I carved some images. This was the first one. Now this is of Penelope. This is Penelope, my little pincushion, and I call her my studio mascot. I actually have two studio mascots, but one of them is in storage. But Penelope is so easy to carry with me. I can just carry her in the palm of my hand. You're going to see another video on Penelope, but not quite right away. I'm working on it. But this is the carving I did, and this was the very first one that I did. Let's see, I think it's this one. Yes, no, that's got a border to it. It's this one. And there were some things in here that I did not like. I didn't like this area. This was, yeah, this, you think I hadn't carved for years and years and years. And what you do is you take the, let me go back to the back here because this is where I sketched her out. I sketched her out right here. And I sketched it in a big market marker. And I really liked that because it bled through to the underside. And I could see how the underside would work. But she was too large, of course, for what I wanted. So I made her smaller down here. I made her this size. Right in here. So, and then I took the graphite pencil and rubbed on here in the different places where I wanted it to show up on my stamp. Where my stamp is, right here. So this was put down on my, this is Speedy Carve, this is Speedball Speedy Carve. And I put it down this way and rubbed all that graphite off onto the Speedy Carve. This is not a new technique. This is a transfer technique. And once I had that graphite image on here, I actually took a big pen and detailed it in here. But there are some things in here that I'm not happy with. It was my first attempt in many years. So I wanted to work on it and improve it. This was my first impression, and then I did another carving right here. Right here. And I was much happier with this one. I did a border. The border was inspired by Vicki Brown. We were discussing stamping and carving in our Zoom meeting. But look how much smoother her hairline is here than it is here. See, I'm pretty rough on things in there. Her chin line is a little bit smoother. Her hairline right in here. Look how much smoother that is. And this area is so much better. The one thing that I did not like about this was, oops, I carved a chunk out of her collar that I didn't want to. And I was very unhappy about that because I like this generally. The gals were saying, well, just leave it, Mary, just leave it. And I'm going, if this represents me, I'll look at that collar and I won't see anything else. I've got to carve it again. But before I did that, I was going, can I paste it back in? Can I paste a chunk of Speedy Carve back in here? And so the gal said, well, try it. And so I did try it right here. And I think you can see on here, I don't know, but right in here, I finished carving out what was left in here. And then I actually got some E6000 and glued another little piece. I had to shave it down because I wanted the flat side to be up. I wanted a nice flat image there, so I had to carve on the underneath of this. It was not an easy thing to do, and you have to be very careful, because if you get E6000 on here, it's going to cause a resist. So I had to be very careful gluing it down. I will say, I think I spilled some in here. You know how E6000 kind of strings? I had a string down here, and my solution, let's see, do I have it in here? Kind of in there. I have an image of it here. No, I don't think I have the image. Oh yeah, right here. See? See that white? That is E6000, a string of that E6000 that had strung off as I was repairing that area in here. So I thought, well, I'm not happy with that either. So what I actually did there was I took some black craft paint, acrylic paint, and painted over that area, just kind of smeared it on there to cover up that E6000 open area there. So I'm fairly happy with this, although this was a repair, and it does not always stamp good because this is an inserted piece. I have to be sure to get it nice and juicy and press really hard on that area. So I said, I'm learning. This is a learning technique. I'm happy with this area. I love the border. I'm much happier with the hairline on these. But this is going to represent me. Dede wants, the instruction here was find an idea stamp that will be your symbol. And going, well, she's really the symbol. She's my studio mascot. So I want it to be not perfect, but less mistakes. So I carved her again. And here's the final one, which is not perfect yet. One of the things that I was disappointed on, I'm not disappointed with the lettering. The lettering, especially if you're a beginning carver, it's a challenge. And these letters are small. They're tiny. I had to use a very tiny V-blade to get those carved out. I'm not unhappy with them because of the font that I use for my headlines, on my channel, you'll see is very irregular, such as this. So this really matches what I put on my channel. Not exactly, but it's a very similar style. But what happened was I did not get this centered. See, I got the ER falling more into the border and a white space over here. And I could carve all that out and maybe create another lettering in here. But I did not do that. What I did, and what I plan on doing, is signing it with my name right in here. I put my name in there in handwriting. So whenever I stamp one of these images, I'll just write it. So this is the little book that I keep my trials in. Just kind of like a little record. And I probably will not be doing that in here, but I will take some of these images and stamp them in here. This is what I did last week. I had a giveaway in my live last night, giving away some ATCs. This is ATC size. Now, there are some things in here that I'm not happy with, but on the other hand, I'm happy with the stamp. I'm not going to recarve every stamp I do. I'm going to learn from the stamps that I create. Now, this one will not be my symbol. My symbol will be this one. And if I only want this much of it, I will mask off this area if I want just Penelope in there. So that's what I've been up to there. And I keep track of, that was all the result of Dede Willingham's Society of Idea Collectors. Go to her playlist if you're interested in this. There's a link to her playlist in the description box below. You will not be disappointed. I keep telling Dede, I don't think she realizes, well, maybe she does, how much she inspires people. She puts it out there. She does not hold back on well, if she holds back, I mean, she may hold back on some things projects that we don't know about, but she's a giver with her ideas. They just flow out. And I'm a sponge. I said, keep feeding us these Society of Idea Collection videos. And she says, I'm very curious. She says she's got a project coming up for 2018. I'm very, very curious of what she's planning. She won't tell us. But anyway, this is where I keep track of Dede's homework and her videos. I make all my notes in here. So this is the October calendar, and you can see, yes, I'm very inspired to at least keep track of my days in here, which is something that has been traditionally hard for me to do. I'll start a calendar or I'll start a journal. I never get it finished. After a month or two, I'm done. It doesn't finish for me. This is some more of September here. I have August back here, September here, October here. No, I'm running out of space, so I'm putting November and December back here. So I really did not plan this out. That will be a change in 2018. So here I'm going to have to kind of look for my months. I've got some of the subtopics written up above. I may do something different with that, like I may put art and then put art journaling underneath of it, or faces, art, faces. I have not gone into that extent in here. I'm not sure that I will, but we'll see. What I have done in here, and what I want to talk about next, is around Halloween. Dede had a video out, and she mind mapped holidays, and she chose, of course, Halloween. And this was her mind map. And a lot of these associations, like witches and candy and trick-or-treat, bats, jack-o'-lantern, all came from the Society of Idea Collectors video from Dede Willingham. I drew the pumpkin in here, but this was my interpretation of the mind map, using the ideas that were generated in that video, plus some of my own. And I actually used this in one of my live sessions here, and I may have shared this before. These gals did not know what, I just chose 3 people and said, give me a number. They did not know that that number was going to be associated with this mind map. And the 3 people chose 16, 25, and 24, which turned out to be a werewolf, a spider, and a skull. Now you have to think we were getting close to Halloween, so we were very much in the spirit of things. So then we got into, in my live session, we got into the discussion of what I could do on an ATC, and these are all the suggestions. This was kind of like groupthink here. Very inspiring. I think that in the live sessions, we go into groupthink, sort of informal mind mapping, especially if you're carrying on a conversation with the people who come into your chat. We do that informally. We didn't sit down and say, okay, we're going to mind map Halloween. Dede did as an exercise. But over here, when I was in my live session, we just got into this conversation, and it gave me a lot of ideas. I did 2 projects off of this that I had a contest for in my next live session, and these were, again, ATCs. And these are color copies, and you may not be able to see them too well. The color, I was really happy with how the color came off on these, because these are just photocopies of the 3 different ATCs that I did. And these ATCs were started out on wipe-off paper, wipe-off paint, especially this one. I did not say I'm going to do this background area for this wolf and have his eyes highlighted here with a lighter color. That was just wipe-off paper. But here's the wolf, skull, and spider. Here's the skull, and then the spider's kind of right below his chin on some of these. So I did 4 ATCs, and where's the other one that I did here? I did a larger one. I want to find it without showing you everything at once. Well, I'll show you the larger 9x12. I did a larger 9x12. Maybe it's on the other side of it. Here it is. This is the color copy of 9x12 that I sent out. Now, this is a photo print. You can get an idea of the texture, but if you actually see the original piece and feel the texture, even of that craft paint, it really came out. It was fun. And during the live session, somebody said, put neon paint his toenails. I think it was Rose. Paint his toenails green with neon paint. So I did. The only thing I didn't like about this that I did change was I had the back of the spider. This is not Sebastian. This was a spider with a skull head, which was one of the suggestions in our group think project here. But I had the back of the spider, his pet spider, red. And of course I had blood coming out from his teeth, and it looked like he was eating his pet spider. And I said, that won't do. So I painted some blue back on that back of the pet spider. You see, we got a little spider over here crawling out of the cellar. Somebody said, don't spiders crawl underneath trap doors? So I've got a cellar door here with a spider crawling out, and got a knife blade and scissors, and here's a neon spider web here. Of course, October 31st. This is the werewolf. The werewolf was a rocker werewolf. And no, I have not gone out to watch Michael Jackson's Thriller yet, musical. I need to go watch it. These gals say, you got to go watch that. It's on YouTube. Go watch it. You've never watched Michael Jackson's Thriller? No, I haven't watched it yet. So, and it's on my list of things to do. But what I wanted to show you, too, with doing this came from Dede. This came from our live session groupthink. This was the result of that. And when I got to the point where I was doing this, I want to show you the progression. I don't just, in this case, I didn't just sit down and draw this out on this piece, on the original. I had to do some sketches first. So there was a lot of background work. I was sitting on my chair one day and I said, okay, what does a werewolf look like? And, you know, what would it look like with a spider crawling? And it actually goes like this, with a spider crawling up the stairs. So this is a very rough. And you can see I went through 3 of these, 4 of them. These are my sketches of developing this final piece. And so I put those in there just to kind of document what I did with that project. Society of Idea Collectors. And the same thing, we're getting to Sebastian with my Halloween story. The same thing with that. Let me tell you guys, that Halloween story was inspired by this Halloween mind map. And it was actually inspired while I was watching the video. And I chose 3 numbers like Dede did in her live session. And I think I talked about this before in the introduction to the Sebastian Halloween story. But I was choosing my numbers while she was drawing her inspiration from the mind map. She had chosen a, what was it, a squirrel, a mummy, and a spider. I think that's how it goes. And she did a beautiful drawing of squirrel with a tattoo on his tail, and he had his foot caught in a roll of toilet paper that ended up being wrapped around the squirrel to make him a mummy. It was just a darling sketch. You just got to go watch it. It was inspiring to watch. But while I was watching her video, this was what I did. While I was watching her video of drawing the little spider, the squirrel, mummy squirrel. And I started developing her mind map here. And I actually went back to here and did the Halloween with all the suggestions here. But I took my mind map, put Halloween and different things in there. Similar to this is more of a refined image, and this was what was happening while I was watching her video. But I started putting in, answering the who, what, when, where, why, what else questions in here. And I chose my numbers, which was a scary story, was sort of a subtopic for me, Halloween. The subtopic was Halloween, and I picked the spider and the spider webs, astronaut, and full moon. That's what I came up with when I chose my numbers off of here. So I started mind mapping that while I was watching her video. And off of this mind map, I came into this little, I'm not going to read all this to you, but I want you to see how the story that I wrote and did all those 4 videos, chapter 4 videos, was inspired by the Halloween mind map that Dede did on her Society of Idea Collectors. And that's what inspires me about doing this project. And I even got into things like, well, the astronaut. And Dede always says, when you mind map a word, go look at the history of the word, the etymology of it. And I did that, and I came up with, before the word astronaut really came in, astronaut is a fairly recent word where we're sending rockets up to the moon. Well, they didn't do that in 1200 or 400 BC. They didn't have rockets like we have in our culture today. They called them star sailors. So that got me into the when. When is this story going to happen? And so I got it into an ancient land long, long ago, and I Googled that, and it came up with the word Sebast, S-E-B-A-S-T, and I also Googled, I wanted a scary name for my spider, and I came up with the word Sebastian. And so Sebastian helped me not only name my little spider, but place my story in an ancient land long, long ago. And I just kept developing that. Here's where I started. Oh, I wanted to share right down here into the why not. And this happened, all happened during the hour and a half, the 15, I think I watched her entire video on this. That all happened while I was watching her video. But there are some things that, while I'm dwelling on all of this, forming this little story, I got into the why not. And one of the why nots was Sebastian was going to the moon, and he was going to go trick-or-treating there. Who was he going to see? And you know how spaceships sometimes look like huge metal spiders. And I'm going, well, why not? Why not have Sebastian trick-or-treating on the moon with his famous flying friend, Frederick the Squirrel, you know, and they're going to go trick-or-treating, and they're going to meet what they think is one of Sebastian's relatives, but it's really a spaceship. So that's how these stories come together. So that was all my inspiration. Now I had to get into writing it. And I didn't just sit down and write it. I wrote it chapter by chapter. I started way over here. I did a rough draft. This is draft. Oh, look, I've written very long. long ago. Very long ago. And as I developed it, I wrote it into a final draft right here. Then, when I was creating my big desktop painting, I had to do a voiceover. And I think I got better at it as I went through the chapters, but I think I spent an entire afternoon doing what I wanted to get a good voiceover. That video was less than 5 minutes, the first one. I spent an entire afternoon doing that. I spent hours and hours just getting to this point. The same way with chapter 2, I did just what I call a rough draft. And you go in and go, no, I don't want to say it that way, so you cross it out, and you think of a better way to say it. And then I did more of a final draft. It's still a draft, but it's more of a final draft when I read the voiceover as that I put on the video as I'm drawing out the video. Then I had to do the painting for each one. Here's chapter 3. Well, this is part of chapter 2. This is chapter 2. You see, there's a lot of work into this. And I'm keeping track of this just so that I can document how that story came out to be. Hours and hours and hours of work. But anyway, I just wanted you to see the development of this story. And here's some of the visual development. When I painted Sebastian, here's the first sketch I did. And he's even an improvement. I mean, look. He's nothing more than scribbles on my page in my journal. And here's a little, I finally put a little star sailor hat on him, which is a sailor hat with stars. And, you know, I'm just scribbling him out there. And he ended up looking like this. This was one of the first ones. And I did research on him. Spiders, I did not know much about spiders. I did not know that they had 6 to 8 eyes, and they don't see very well. They have commonly 6 to 8 legs with almost 48 knees. I didn't know about that. They eat by inserting their fangs into their prey, but that's how they eat. So I played on that with the Halloween candy in my chapter 4. When Sebastian eats his Halloween candy, he puts his little fangs into there and he sucks up all the sweetness. You know, he's eating his Halloween candy, and then he throws away the shell, which is the chocolate shell. So that's how I get to this. And this is the first chapter. Here is a little bit more refined. I was just trying to get an idea of how I wanted Sebastian to work. So here I go in and I mind map Sebastian. You know, the where, the when, the how, the what. Here's a little spaceship where I got to the spaceship down here. The little, I call them moon spiders now. Here's his star sailor hat. Here he gets that from his famous flying Fred of Freddy. And I actually did this one. Here's the wise old owl. I sketched this off of a reference photo. I did not just sit down and draw this. I was actually looking at a reference photo to sketch this owl. But I wanted to get an idea of what mean wise old owl would look like. And here's chapter 2. I did this all in Big Market marker. This is just like a prototype almost, a rough draft of my big desktop painting. Here's the wise old owl, who's just more of a silhouette here. I would like my moon. I traditionally do not do moons in this style, very stylistic, but he came out nice. But my little flying squirrel is more of this, like a little bat squirrel here. And I actually drew the squirrel like this, and I liked it so well that I put it on the desktop. I cut it out and collaged it on the desktop and used it there, so I don't have it in my journal. But that's chapter 2. And here's the one for chapter 3, right here where they're flying off to the moon. And here's Frederick on, Sebastian on Frederick's back, and he spins all these spider webs between the stars. And then I got into the idea of where I'm telling this portion of the story first, so I'm painting it over on the upper left of my desktop. And then when I get into this portion of the story where they're actually doing their trick-or-treating on the moon and they meet the moon spider, that's down in this corner. And this is a very, very, in fact, it's upside down here, very, very, very rough draft of chapter 4. Chapter 4 was, I had the concept in my head, but I did not really develop out even a rough draft. It's just very sketchy sketch. But here, he's coming back down his web with Frederick the Flying Squirrel holding on for dear life to his gold heart. And then there's all these webs that Sebastian spun on the way up to the moon, and on the way down, they noticed that the webs were trapping all of the ghouls and goblins and witches, so they couldn't haunt the world on Halloween night. And then they get down here, they just about get down to Earth, and they bump into this old witch that gets trapped in one of Sebastian's webs, and she spills out all their candy, so they hurry up and take their candy because they only have moon rocks. Moon rock candy. So they didn't get much trick-or-treating done. They wanted some candy to take back. Well, it turned out that that candy was candy that belonged to the wise old owl, but the witch had cast a spell on the wise old owl. That's how this story developed. She cast a spell on the wise old owl and stole all his candy, and as she was flying away, she got it caught into one of Sebastian's spider webs, and she spilled a bag of candy, and they came along and stole it, and they got back down here to Earth, and the wise old owl was telling them how... The wise old owl was kind of a frenemy. He's a friend, but he's an enemy of Sebastian and Frederick. He's always criticizing them. And it ended up that they got his Halloween candy. So that's how that story was developed. That was so fun to do. Will I be doing more of that? I don't know. So this video's getting kind of long, but that's okay. This makes up for the videos that I didn't get done because I was working so much on this. So that's all about Halloween. These are my list letters, writing letters. I have something to show you in here. This is my Dr. BS, where I'm developing Dr. BS. I have something to show. It may not be, it may be in my research tab. I have some blank pages that I'm going to hopefully fill these up in November and December, and I'll be bopping around in this book. This is a list of everything that was in the Recycled Parts for Art design package that Jerry Bellini at Recycled Parts for Art sent to each one of the design team members, and I listed them out. So I think what I'm going to do now is go through and mark off the ones that I used in my first design project. There will be 3 months. And I think I'll cross them out and maybe over here make a list of the projects. This is some more things. This was the start of a mind map of list of holidays and special days for Dede Willingham's homework assignment. This is as far as I got, but I was reading the Smithsonian magazine, and I'm going to show you the article. But January 23rd is, in the States, National Handwriting Day. It's also John Hancock. You know, John Hancock has that beautiful signature on the Declaration of Independence. And they made his birthday National Handwriting Day. Isn't that interesting? So that's going to be a special day on my list of holidays. I've got one. It's very easy to build these lists. You know, Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's, Martin Luther King Day, Independence Day for, you know, and you can put Thanksgiving Day in the States, Thanksgiving Day in Canada. I think there's a Boxing Day that's not a U.S. holiday, but I think it's celebrated probably in Canada and England. So those are, I'll get back to that. This is a list of things that I want to sketch in connection with Recycled Parts for Art. I've gotten into doing my little ATCs, but I want to come back to this list. I did the chalkware doll, the Penelope Rose, and embroidery scissors, but there's a lot more. A coffee mug, a clothespin, scissors, Tim Holtz scissors, which is different than embroidery scissors. Oh, let's see. I've covered a lot of these. I'm trying to find things that I have. I hope to be able to fill this up in November and December. This is writing. I've been keeping track of some of my dreams that meant a lot to me in here. Writing, and I marked dream. Dream. I'll put some quotes. This quote was from Dede Willingham. All God's children have paper. Now, she probably did not mean that as a quote, but she was working on a project, and she says, where's my paper? Where's my paper? And she said, all God's children have paper. I thought, well, that's cool. I'm going to write that down, Dede. Well, that's a quote from Dede. Here's a quote for the August prompt in my year 2017, which I need to do yet. So I want to get that quote done, put it in my year 2017 composite art journal. Here's another dream, dream, words, some words that I wanted to keep track of. They're kind of big words. Zeitgeist, Z-E-I-T, geist. I was reading a book by a Nebraska senator, Ben Sass, and he's talking about the general intellectual culture of your current culture, the general intellectual climate, kind of like what's going on at the time. That's zeitgeist. I did not know that. Once upon a time, that's just kind of like a little story, you know, opening fairy tale stories. Here is my recording of the word astronaut when I was writing for Sebastian, the etymology, a person who is trained to travel in a spacecraft. Astro, first known use was, it was coined in 1929. So that's fairly recent. That was, you know, not even 100 years ago. That word is a fairly new word. And you wouldn't think that. You think, oh, astronaut probably goes way back to, well, no. The Greeks used the word astron and N-A-U-T, star, sailor. And that's how I got Sebastian to be a star sailor. Here's another dream. And then I get into writing my story in here. I've already talked about all this. Here, I'm keeping track of letter writing, articles that I find on letter writing. I found a couple. I do a lot of fussy cutting out of magazines. Reviving the lost art of letter writing, handwritten treasures. A year or so ago, I was doing all this letter writing, and I need to get back to it because I was actually writing letters to you on my YouTube channel. And 2018, that's all I'll say. Here I was mind mapping a word, lemniscate. I wrote out the sounding here. And the word is a word for the infinity symbol, the figure 8 that lays on its side. Isn't that interesting? I did an arcade off of that word. Mind map for projects. Some more blank pages I can use in the next couple months. This is actually some planning for my fine line paint applicator journal, art journal. I'll be coming back to that, just kind of sketching out some ideas. Here's one. I put back or rack. This is on questions. I want to fill up my questions tab. And I'm working on it. I really am. I don't know if I'll get it done by... I may use some of these blank pages. This depends on how busy my November and December are. But I've been cutting out questions and collecting questions. I don't think that as adults we ask enough questions. I think we encourage young people to ask more questions. And as a young person, I was always encouraged to question everything. I mean, because you go to school, you're exploring, well, the sciences, how does this happen, why does this happen, and the questions here, who, what, when, where, why, and how. And when I got to this point while I was doing this mind mapping, I realized all these blank pages, I'm not asking enough questions. So I'm going to work on, and I'm calling it a FAQ, for frequently asked questions. But then I thought, no, I'm going to call it a rack for rarely asked questions, because I don't question enough. So I wrote FAQ or rack. Is it okay to use house paint in art? That was a question that I was watching Melissa at 70 Acre Studios, her channel. She does a lot of pouring videos where, you know, I do not do pour videos, P-O-U-R, where you put your paint in a cup and add silicone, and I want to, but I'm not there yet. But I asked her, she uses house paint. And I asked her, do you use house paint? Like, she'll go to like Menards or whatever hardware stores in her area and buy the samples of paint. And the question was, is it okay to use house paint in your art? Do we have to go and buy craft paint or golden paint? Of course, now if you're doing pieces for commission, if you're doing if you're a professional artist, you may want to shy away from house paint. But if you're someone like me who just likes to paint on your craft paper on your desktop, why am I paying $6 for, or minimum, $20 for a tube of paint? That's this much. You know, why not just go get some house paint? Because it will probably eventually either get put in a journal or who knows what will happen to it. Can you create your own Diana Wakely journal? And what kinds of substrates would you put into it? Diana Wakely came out with this art journal that has all these different substrate papers and burlap, and I don't know what all is in it, but I'm going, huh. And I suppose that would become like a bookbinding technique. There's a lot of videos out there, but I was thinking to myself, what would I do? What kind of substrates would I put into that? Another question I've asked was, can you paint, and I don't have it written down here, I should probably do that. And I know I've asked this to Gina before, is, can you paint on denim? And of course we got into gessoing the background and preparing the background. Or fabric in general, I'm going to put or fabrics. Because linen is a fabric. When you stop to think about it, it's thread. But there's prepared linen and you know, linen is not paper. Linen is fabric. It's cloth. And canvas itself is fabric. But it's gessoed and it's primed and it's prepared for a painting surface. That's what I'm getting at. From Dede, it says, if you wrote a personal definition of success, what would it sound like? Why am I not, this is my question. This is my question to myself, is why am I not questioning more? And then I put start a list of questions. And that's what's generating these. And I'm starting to notice more questions when I pull things out of magazines. When did you last surprise yourself? What did you let go of that changed your life? If you had an extra hour in your day, which happened this weekend, what would you do with it? Well, I actually think, to answer that question for 2017, I actually spent that hour, I've been listening to internet radio. So that's what happened. Late at night, sometimes I'm too tired to do much. I might be sitting there fussy cutting, but I just want to hear something in the background. I don't really want to use my eyes to watch anything. Like watching a video and fussy cutting, you either have to concentrate on your fussy cutting or you need to concentrate on watching the video. Now you can listen to the video, which I do, but I have found some internet radio stations that I like to listen to. Sometimes it's music, sometimes it's talk. So I've been doing that. So that's how I spent my extra hour in 2017. What dream have you not yet mustered up the courage to pursue? And I would have to say for me, it's urban sketching. I want to urban sketch, not just in my local community. I want to start, of course I've started locally, especially when I was in Madison, but here in Nebraska, I've done a little urban sketching, but I want to branch out. I would love to go to each county in Nebraska and do one urban sketch. I mean, that's doable. That is not, it's not a courage thing. I just haven't done it yet. It's nothing that I have to muster up courage to do. I may not answer this question, but it's on my list of a dream that I'd love to do. And then eventually, there are urban sketchers that travel the world and write books. And urban sketch all over the world. I think that would be fun to do. I think it would be fun to own a minivan and go urban sketching and do a sketch not only of every county in the state that you're, but at least do an urban sketch in every state in the United States, including Alaska and Hawaii, but urban sketch in each state in the United States. That's a dream. And that probably is more mustered up the courage to do, because you'd have to go out probably alone. You have to know where you're going. You have to research good spots. You have to be aware of your surroundings. Will I ever do that for every state? It would be fun to do. I don't know if I'd ever get it done. I might get it started. I'd be more likely to urban sketch every county in the state that I'm living, which happens to be Nebraska right now. So questions, I'm working on filling up this section. I want to fill it all up with questions by the end of 2017. I don't know. I better get busy. Here are some more reference. I've been trying to keep track of some of the websites out here. www.mindmapping.org, www.studentart.guide, www.design-seeds came from Dede, one of Dede's Society of Idea Collectors. I can't even pronounce this word. It's called The Thinking Place, the Frontistery Info. It's a website. It's really interesting. More mind mapping, some more blank pages. I might have enough for December and November here. Oh, this is where I think I'm going to share this, because I don't think that I'll do any of these. I'm kind of verbally writing down ideas for what I can do with the cookbook that's in the Recycled Arts for Parts design package that Jerry Bellini sent to me. That cookbook has been kind of a challenge for me, because my initial thought was, I want to do something more than a journal. I might do the journal, but I was thinking, what other things can I do with a Better Homes and Garden 1/2-inch, 1/4-inch cookbook that's about meat and salads. I mean, there are no cookies and cake. Well, there might be some cookies. There might be some desserts in there, but it's mostly, it's just, it's more of an entree cookbook than a baker's book. I love to bake. I like to make cinnamon rolls and pretzels and chocolate chip cookies, and I wouldn't have a problem with that. So I'm going, well, I could do the journal. I could do a recipe holder, display stand, a charger station for your phones, a drawer divider. I can make a little drawer divider to keep pencils and everything in. I could do a plaque for inspiration, a menu planner, a message board, a picture frame, a key holder. And let's see, what do I have? I want it to be useful. See, I'm writing down what do I want out of this cookbook. I want it to be unique. I want it to be useful for others, because I'm going to give it away. I could do something for me that would be very useful, like make a little holder, drawer holder to hold all my ink pens. What I'm using now, I'll show you what I'm using now. What I'm using now is a cookie tray. Holding my sketchy pens, like when I do my Inktober drawings. I've been holding my ink pens that I use for Inktober in here. But I could take that little cookbook and make a pen holder out of it. But that would be useful for me. What I want to give this away. What could I make that would be useful for you? If you think of something that I can add to this list, let me know, because it'll probably be my January project. I'm still churning the wheels on that one. And then I put, what about the inside of the pages? How am I going to use those? On here, I've probably been pulling, except for the journal, pulling papers out. So that was a question here. What am I going to do with the inside pages? I want to use them. So, I mean, I haven't listed, I know things I can do with them, but I just haven't listed them down. But this is where I'm brainstorming. This is not really a mind map. This is more of a brainstorm of what can I do with the cookbook. Jerry knows. Jerry knows I've been mulling this one over. Another mind map on research. What I'm going to do with the research tab. This is about Albert Einstein's first wife. And I look for a photo to sketch. Did I sketch her? I might have sketched her. But I was reading about Einstein, and I was reading about his first wife, who was a mathematician. And that's in my research tab. I want to know more about her. His first wife. She was a mathematician. She was on the same level. She was one of Albert Einstein's students. She was a very intellectual person. More research pages. Yeah, I think I'll have enough for December. Maybe. Just depends on what I do. Here is something else I want to share with you. This color copy here was sent to me by Deborah Mayo in Happy Mail, and I wanted to make a pocket. And I was looking for something that was strong, and this fit the mold. And I'm using it as a pocket to hold this. I tore it out of the Daughters of American Revolution magazine that I got at the library. The Art of Handwriting. The History of Early American Script and How to Read It. And they give, I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but this is the sort of thing that appeals to me. This is the sort of thing that inspires me. Some tips. 5 tips for decoding documents. Yeah. I'll be pulling this out again. I might do some mind mapping off of this article. Wouldn't that be fun? A mind map brainstorm. But right now I'm just keeping it right in there. I'm just showing you how my journal's growing. What am I doing with my Society for Idea Collectors journal? Why is it getting so fat? This is all spiritual. I'm not going to dwell on the spiritual tab too much because I know that we're all different faiths who watch my channel. So I don't like to push my faith off on everybody else on an art channel. But I do have it. I do have it for myself. I'll go that far with it. This is spiritual too in here. This is my YouTube tab. How am I going to change my YouTube tab? Things that I want to do. I was thinking about downloading all my thumbnails. I should put thumbnails here. It's not a thumbs down. Although some of those thumbnails probably have thumbs down. When I very first started making videos, I just used the thumbnails that were generated because I didn't know how to put up my own at that time. Then I started making thumbnails using what I had at the time. They're not very well developed. My channel was still getting developed. So I was thinking maybe I should download my thumbnails for every video, because I can do that now, and redesign them. And I'm thinking back and forth. I'm going, yeah, I could do that, and I may change them and get more traffic to my channel. That would be the reason to do that. But on the other hand, what is there is what was there. Maybe I want to, the same way that I'm leaving these sketchy sketches here, where I'm just doing really art that is not very well developed, maybe I want to leave my thumbnails out there as sketchy sketches. I did not put a lot of thought into them. Why do I want to change them? Well, you'd want to change them to attract more traffic, but on the other hand, I like the idea of leaving them as the art that was. Let's put it that way. The art that was. I don't know if anybody's listening to me chatter, but this is very much a chat video. I don't do these long chat videos a lot, but I want to share the Society of Idea Collectors journal with you. One of the gals in our Zoom meeting said she'd love to get her hands on this and just thumb through it. And I'm not going to send it to her. But I can go through here and talk about what I'm doing and put it out there. I want to share with you what I'm getting out of this project. And if you can get anything out of this, if this inspires you to keep track of your own ideas, to even take a composition book. This is just a composition book, less than $1. Because I got it in September, August, September, school supply season. Look how it's developed. Look what's come out of this journal. Stamps and stories and art and mind maps, and I'm learning to question things. And from August to November has been a trip. The art that was. I like that. Okay. Here is a list, and I'm still working on this list. I think I'm going to stop it here. I started it here. But with my license plates journal, which I started, haven't gotten back to yet. It's there. I'm going to work on it. But I'm listing all my memories. My very first memory through my preschool years, my memories of what I have in my grade school years, my junior high years, my high school years, which not all the memories are good memories. Memories of instances of growing up, instances of going to college. I've shared some of my memories in my lives. I'll get talking about something. Clear up to, well, I guess what you can call my middle-aged years, my working years, heading into my silver fox years. So, and I have stopped. I have all these pages of memories, and it's just a real fast little, like here. I was probably between kindergarten and first grade. We lived down in Texas. We lived in this duplex, and I'm sure that all of you have a similar memory because it happens. What happened to me was I locked myself in the bathroom in that duplex that my parents lived in. And I can remember being locked in that bathroom and not knowing how to get out. I didn't understand how that lock worked. You know, I was a kid. And I locked myself in, and I can remember my parents and my older sister saying, turn the little handle on the knob. And I think my dad was running to get the screwdrivers or whatever it takes to undo the hinge. And I think I finally figured it out. I got out of the bathroom. That was a memory, but it didn't scare me because I knew my parents were on the other side of the door, but it made an impression on me because it's a memory that I remember clear through my adult years. Being locked in the bathroom was no fun, and I locked myself in. Just a whole bunch of memories going through, and I kept track here. I was in the 3rd or 4th grade when I stopped recording on my list. And I think that in 2018, I'm going to refine this list, I'm scribbling. I've even scribbled out some of my memories of what the old house looked like that we lived in. It's all torn down now. Each one of the houses. Society for Idea Collectors. What's this? I was watching, this should really go into the YouTube. I was watching some YouTube videos on working with your channel. Here's more. I did not do this, but we kind of group think on our live session. It was another Halloween theme, lady fingers. The prompt was candy, coffin, and cut finger for Halloween. And we did this group think of what we could do for ATCs or 9x10. But I did not do that. I got off into doing my carving. But they're here. I could do it someday. I like the concept of groupthink. I may move these over to this section where I have all the Halloween. Probably right in, well, not there. Maybe right here. Which we're getting pretty close. This is some more planning for recycled parts for art. I've shared these with you. The Halloween mind maps and the art that I sent out on it. Note taking. I've got some, here's another Sebastian thing here. This is a mind map for it. I'll probably do some more with my notes in 2018. Activities, this is more art activities. This is, I've shared this before. This is with the solar eclipse. Dede did and challenged us to do a mini zine on the solar eclipse. I did that. I did an art journal page. It's in my 2017 art journal. But that's my planning. And here's a little sketch. I sketched it from memory. We went over to our neighbors and watched the solar eclipse for 5 minutes. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, however long it took. And it actually got dark. It's really eerie to watch it get dark at 12 o'clock. But this is my memory of it. Here sitting out on the front porch doing sketching, and then I actually wrote in my art journal that I have in my lap here. Library. Oh, and this has already happened. I should put it in here. One of our libraries close to here has a new library, and they opened up this maker space. Oh my goodness. I can't wait to get my hands on that laser cutter. That's going to happen in the future. Some more tracking here. 913, just notes that I was keeping track of. Here's my carving images. What a symbol to represent me is going to be my stamped image of my little pincushion doll. The scissors was done for fun. I'll probably do more carvings and share them in my Friday Night Lives just for fun. That's upcoming. This is more August notes. This is a tab for activities other than art. Craft show that they had, or it was an antique show. I did not go to the show itself, but I did go to the library sale. That was associated. The library had a book sale at the same time that old trusty show was going on. Yeah, that's where I went. This was, I was watching a video. I think it was Art Joy sharing. I was sitting out in the kitchen, and I started sketching kitchen items, my coffee cup, the mixer, a spatula, salt and pepper shakers. This was a canister, I think. No, that was a larger, no, that was a coffee. That's my coffee canister. Coffee pot. We have a basket that holds items on our island. Here I was watching Daryl Eves. He had a free video when he had his vid summit. This is all YouTube connected, but it's kind of like a other activity other than art. And he gives ideas of things that you can do on your video, how you can get people to come to your channel, what you can do to improve your channel. I took notes like I do with Dede. That's more of that. Now I put a question, where's my featured content? Everywhere. So I was taking notes there. Actually, I took 3 pages of notes. He must have been pretty interesting. I should go back and review my notes. Here's my stair stepping. I actually do go out on the back porch, and we have stairs. We have a back porch that holds our washer and dryer, and then you can go up the 2nd floor. There's some back steps up there, and I do my stair stepping off of those back steps, but I haven't been keeping track of it. I was going to keep track, but I got to day 1. I actually do that. I need to do it more consistently, but I do get it done. I just don't get it recorded. I may white this out, or I may, you know, just put something else down here. Here's a little pocket I made that I keep little items. Book list here. Some little restaurant business cards. I love this little cartoon because I like storytelling. And the little guy says, this is a Bill King cartoon out of our local newspaper. He says, no book tonight, Daddy. Just, I want you to talk us a story. These are a list of books that I've started reading. I've been working in my art so much. I do a lot of reading, but I I have kind of slowed down. The one that I'm reading now, I'll write it down. It's a new Bill O'Reilly book. I like to read his books because he was a history teacher. I'm probably spelling his name wrong, but that's good for now. I know what it is. And it's called, he does his killing series. In killing, he doesn't mean like go kill somebody. He means like a historical event and how they happened. And killing England. Killing England is all about the American Revolution and how, you know, America declared her independence from England. I'm going to leave this in here because I want to do some more off of this. And this is just my sack that I got on my Nebraska junk jaunt. Here are some things for to-dos. I've got to put this. These go on my to-do list. See, I just kind of use this as a dashboard. These are tags that I need to finalize and send out. These are to-dos. Goes right here. That's next. This weekend I'm working on these. I'm going to get it mailed out next week. So this is my Society of Idea Collectors Journal. This is how it's developing for me. From August through, it will be through December. I think I have enough blank pages. But I'm going to revise it for next year. And I'm going to carry on. I'm kind of wondering what Dede's got cooking up. But I think I'm going to go ahead and plan on doing what I'm doing. Because I want to get it ready for 2018. And I think on this, I will maybe document Volume 1 and the dates August through December 2017. And I'll show you here, because I've shown at the beginning of the video, this is what I got for 2018. These are going to be for 2018, but I have a black one. And I specifically bought red ones for 2018. They're all the same color, but I bought a black one because I'm going to create an index. After I've done this, I just know what's going to happen. I know that there's going to be something in here that inspired me, and I won't be able to find it. So this is going to be my index, and I'll probably work on this right away. I'm going to keep track. I'm just going to keep notes. I'm going to start with Volume 1, and I'm just going to put a line of what's in here as an index. So I'll know everything that happened in Volume 1 will be recorded on here. I might even number these pages, number the inserts. I'll say insert or flip, and I'll keep track of it. So if I go, I know it's in there someplace, I'll be able to look at my index. So that's something I'm going to start working on right away. So thank you for listening. I've had so much fun with Society for Idea Collectors. This will be my symbol, Dede. I'm going to send her. She wants everybody in the society who's doing that challenge, Society to Idea Collectors, who wants to send her a stamped image of what they chose as their symbol. So, Dede, that's coming your way. And some happy mail. So thank you for watching. I've had a lot of fun doing this. I'm looking forward to more. Just so inspirational. Thank you for watching. I will see you on the next page.